Welcome to the unit on the nature of business. By the end of this unit, students will be able to understand the scale of operations, identify the suitable method for funding an apparel business, list of techniques required to run a business, identify an appropriate organizational structure for business, understand the role of operations, human resource management and administration. First module gives an overview of different sizes of apparel business setups. The need of fixed capital depends upon the nature of business. Usually the nature of business is of two kinds: manufacturing business and trading business. In the case of manufacturing business, large investments are made in land, building or machinery. Thus there is a need of large amount of fixed capital. On the contrary, in the case of trading businesses in which finished goods are bought and sold, less amount of fixed capital is needed. There are four main types of business formats existing in apparel manufacturing. They are micro, medium, small and large. The larger the spread of business activities, the greater the need of fixed capital. If a manufacturing enterprise is operating on a small scale, it will require less amount of fixed capital. On the other hand, a large scale manufacturing enterprise will need a relatively more amount of fixed capital. In enterprises where production is carried out mainly through manual labor, the need of fixed capital is very little. Enterprises having semi-automatic manufacturing technique required moderate amount of fixed and working capital. Manufacturing enterprises which make use of modern and automatic machines need larger amount of fixed capital. There are some businesses where the fixed capital is used which requires immediate change. These days computer technology is undergoing rapid changes. There are companies whose business is computer based, need more fixed capital. There are two types of organizations for the point of view of growth. Organizations which have no possibility of growth, they don't need additional fixed capital in future. Organizations which have more possibility of growth, they need more additional fixed capital. Such organizations make a choice of the sources of finance so that needed additional finance can be made available. Diversification means running a business in more than one product. Organizations which wish to adopt diversification certainly need more fixed capital. For example, if a textile manufacturing company starts the business of paper manufacturing, it will have to invest heavily in land, building and machinery. Therefore, it will require more additional fixed capital. As explained earlier, there are three different techniques being used in apparel manufacturing, that is manual, semi-automatic, automatic techniques. The techniques that is being used plays an important role in deciding the contract under which owner of the property operates. Leasing is a sort of contract under which the owner of a property gives the right to someone to use his property in return of a definite consideration which is called lease rental. On the expiry of the period of lease, the property is returned to the owner. Sometimes when the lease ends, the lessor gives the lessee the option to buy the property or get it on lease again. The module introduces the various methods of financing a business. Let us begin with understanding the terms assets, operating capital and working capital. Assets or capital investments are needed to start up and conduct business even at a minimal stage. These assets are considered fixed in that they are not used up in actual production of product or services, but have a reusable value. Fixed capital investments typically depreciate on company's account statement over a long period of time, up to maybe 20 or more years. Example of assets includes factories, office, buildings, computer servers, insurance policies, legal contracts and manufacturing equipment. In short, anything that is not continually purchased in the course of production of a product or service. Operating capital is the capital available for the operations of a firm such as manufacturing or transportation. Working capital is the assets available for use in production of further assets. It is the capital that is required for financial transactions and long-term improvements. Generally, for making investment in fixed assets, long-term capital sources such as equity share capital, preferential share capital, debentures are used. However, another source of finance are emerged these days. This is called leasing. If a company makes use of this source, it is acquires fixed assets on lease rather than buying them. In such a situation, the need for fixed capital decreases. Now, let us move on the importance of selecting an appropriate site for the business and the critical factor that will help determine a suitable location for the enterprise. The top manufacturing site location factors: availability of raw materials, skilled labor, labor cost, availability and cost of energy, highway accessibility, state and local incentives, tax exemptions, corporate tax rate, availability and rates of land and buildings, occupancy or construction cost, inbound and outbound shipping cost. Of these site selection factors, availability and cost of energy, highway accessibility, state and local incentives, availability and rate of land and buildings, occupancy or construction cost, inbound and outbound shipping cost, all increased in importance. It is important to know about land coverage. Usually 40% of the land is allowed to cover out of the total land. Floor space index, also known as FSI, is vital to check whether the target capacity will be met along with optimal design of various departments like cutting, sewing, finishing. This module focuses on the importance of effective human resource management in the apparel manufacturing industry. The role of human resources is changing as far as technology and the global marketplace. Historically, the human resource department was viewed as administrative overheads. HR handled administration of benefit, kept personal files and other records, managed the process of hiring and providing other administrative support to the business. Some common roles of human resource executive are recruitment, sending the offer letters, orientation of new employees, provide salary statement, monitoring attendance, maintaining employee database, preparing the list of holidays applicable during the year. As times has changed, human resource professionals now have the opportunity to play a more strategic role in business. The challenge of human resource managers is to keep up to date with latest human resource technological innovations and legal requirements. There is a need to know about the current human resource challenges and how to effectively manage them in your workplace. We will now look at some best human resource practices in a few companies. Any practice that you devise to increase the competence, commitment and improvement to culture at the workplace can be termed as human resource practice, and this can be in the form of norms, rule or system. Example of human resource practices include wishing employee on their birthday or anniversary by the human resource head, having health facility, babysitting facilities, continuous learning and development oriented performance management system, good employee service. Other examples of HR practices includes provision of a company's internal magazine covering all the happenings in the company, regular training and development, job rotation or internal department transfer. For example, service employees based on their performance are shifted to research and development. There is no single best practice to which all organizations should aspire. Rather, literature shows that each firm has a distinctive human resource system that represents a core competency required for the survival and sustainability for that particular organization. Best practices in human resource are subjective and transitory. What is best for an company may not be the best for other. What was best last month may not be the best for today. The concept of best is highly subjective and non-specific. Best practices is not a set of the discrete action, but rather a cohesive and holistic approach to organization management. Best practices are initiatives taken by human resources to create a feel-good factor, give high visibility and focused impact, be unique, relevant, gel with organization structure and culture, provide a fresh, creative way to accomplish a task. Some factors which constitute best practices in human resource management are communication, continuous improvement, risk taking, recognition, work life balance, cultural consciousness, recruitment, training, and development. The best practice companies have the most intense communication, which are broad, continuous, and involve multi-directional employee contact. Communications with employees is a given and is formal, focused, and ongoing responsibility. Examples of good communications strategies are Talk of the Week, where all employees are asked to participate and give their word and opinion about their superiors, helping to bridge the gap. Taking a step ahead is a roundtable initiative to empower their employees. These are improvements in employee services provided by some companies. Dosti is a counseling facility adopted by Texas Instruments, where a trained counselor offers free and confidential advice on any issue under the sun, from work-related stress to marital discord. This service, followed by Johnson & Johnson outsourcing services like paying bill, booking tickets and buying vegetables. Breakfast with department heads in a group of 10 is an initiative adopted by GSK. Cashless hospital scheme for employees, their families is a scheme adopted by Johnson & Johnson. The best companies have leaders who possess courage to make the hard decisions and carry them out. People like Jack Welch, CEO of General Electric, is known as Neutron Jack for his massive shake-ups at GE. These people are not afraid to go face to face with employees to discuss issues they feel need to be addressed. Here are some employee recognition programs. On the spot recognition followed by Shopper Stop, where all employees are recognized on their contribution and talent they exhibit. For many contribution, they are given stars, making people feel like stars. Special awards like Helping Hand, First Mover, and quarterly rewards, and appreciation of some of the initiatives taken by many companies. Examples of work-life balance initiatives are an initiative taken by GSK where every employee can walk out of the office at 6 p.m., helping them to balance both professional and personal life. Hewlett Packard reward quarterly star performers with packages like dinner with family and stay over the weekend at 5-star hotels. Hewlett also invites spouses to give a pleasant surprise to employees on anniversaries and birthday. The best companies are all sharply focused on their culture and are conscious of how culture shapes system and behaviors. The best example of this is an initiative fund at the rate of work Cadbury annual theme. This is a reflection of the company's corporate goals. The celebration calendar built around the theme is to ensure at least one event per month. On company day, employees are encouraged to interact with customers and bring back new ideas. The warm controversy was overcome through delivery smiles. Specific days like traditional days are introduced. Here are some ways used by the companies to focus on training and development. Individual training needs performance and targets are freshly evaluated each quarter. The e-learning portal of FedEx and Havlet provides a choice of whole range of topics from communication and project management to strategic planning. Rotational development program provides cross-functional exposure to junior and mid-level staff. Mentoring program promotes diversity and mentors with different departments. At Classic Stripes, employees spend 150 minutes a month on Kaizen and behavioral training. Recruitment is done through a number of ways. Some innovative ways are an employee referral scheme, interview over a meal. This initiative help create extra comfort levels. Posting job opening internally at BSL, anybody can apply for an opening 2 level above his current designation. Collaborating means seeking the help of other organizations in order to run a business. For example, if a bank entered an understanding with another bank to use its automated teller machines, this could mean more income for the bank, while the bank getting this facility will not be have to invest in fixed asset. Therefore, it can be said that collaboration helps in reducing the need for fixed capital. The last module reviews some important checklists that are necessary for effective administration of a garment manufacturing unit. Let us learn about the various checklists that has to be filled by a client before starting any plant startup project. This checklist should be filled by the client before starting a plant startup project. Check the different products to be manufactured such as shirt, blouses and trousers. Check the daily target capacity of the plant. Check the ratio in which multiple products, if any, that have to be manufactured out of total target capacity. Raise these questions. Will the factory be having following department in-house: cutting, sewing, finishing and washing? If the answer of this is yes, then there should be a provision for effluent treatment plant and water storage. You should also ask if the factory will have these departments: embroidery, printing, research and development, sampling and merchandising. Check if previously owned, leased, rent details are available. If yes, then a site map is required. A contour drawing shows the different level in land. The drawing will show if the land available is at a slope or a plane. If there is a slope within the area, then measures should be included in the concrete structure of the building to avoid the slope instead of leveling the surface with sand. For example, stairs could be built at one end, usually at the back, to neglect the slope. Check if a physical layout exists. If yes, a site map is required. The important thing here will have to check if existing building will incorporate all the departments along with good materials. Further, an evaluation of movement of manpower along with special evacuation plans during any emergency should be considered. Typical questions to be asked are: what kind of roof will the facility have? For example, will the facility have a tin roof? check if any Vastu preference needs to be incorporated, check the gender ratio, check the number of shifts, check the source of the power, that is the main supply, check if there is a distributed generator system, and if so, the combination. Check the facility for the workers like the canteen with or without cooking, dormitory, medical room, lockers, children room. Check the system of moving materials. Check if the factory is compliant. If yes, then it is advisable to be aware of both local laws and buyer laws. For store, check the fabric roll diameter and length. It helps in getting the racks designed perfect for storage. Further, it will help in planning the store and cutting room. For finishing, check the carton type and the type of packing such as hanger packing and fold. You have come to the end of this unit. To summarize, in this unit, you have learned about various aspects of capital management, including fixed capital, working capital, selection of location, HR procedures, and planning of infrastructures. Thank you very much.